away.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I am Rold Lewis. I am the Donations and Partnerships Program Manager for Serve DC. I think this is the second time I've done this training for Bega. I'm pleased that you guys have asked me to come back. That must mean I didn't do a terrible job last time. But I look forward to informing you guys on different things about donations. Please feel free to stop me during the session to ask any questions that you have. You could go to the next slide. All right, you can go to the next one. So our agenda today, I'll be going over the training objectives, overview of who we are at Serve DC, our donations background, the policy, the process and benefits, a little bit about solicitation, summary and notes, summary and next steps, and then answer any questions that you may or may not have. Next. So the training objectives, again, I'll be able to provide you guys an overview of the mayor's memorandum. We are actually working on a new memorandum because the old memorandum covered the purview of when Serve DC was under OPG, or when OPGS existed, which was the Office of Partnerships and Grants and Services, which merged with Serve DC back in 2019. So there is a more up-to-date memorandum that's in the process of getting approved. Again, like I said, I'll share the roles and responsibilities of Serve DC, help you understand the district's donation process and its benefits, and help you guys familiarize you guys with the district's rules in conducting, governing donations and honorary gifts. Next slide, please. So, as Serve DC, we strive to innovate and amplify collaboration and service between Washingtonians, nonprofits, businesses, philanthropy, and district agencies as a critical component to fostering shared and sustainable solutions that enhance the quality of life for district residents and make DC a world-class city. So the ways that we do that is we build multi-sector partnerships and support strategic initiatives. We promote leading leading and leading volunteerism in local national service projects. We provide capacity building services to nonprofits, and then we support investments that enhance residents' quality of life. So within Serve DC, we have a couple of different arms. We have our partnerships division, which is where I am, and also we have volunteerism that we do. So we work with different district agencies to help them on volunteer projects, or other nonprofit organizations, or even corporate and businesses that want to have volunteer service days. We have our EP team, which is our emergency preparedness team. We do, you know, first aid, search training. We mobilize communities when an event of any disasters, which we've been dealing with the global health pandemic. So we've helped mobilize volunteers in different capacity for that. And then we have our national service, which we manage the AmeriCorps funding that comes into the district, and that's a big part of a lot of what we do. You could switch to the next slide. So what we are here for, donations. So a little background on donations. Congress has authorized that the district is able to augment our budget through accepting donations. All donations must be approved by the mayor, and they approve the mayor through Serve DC. Only exemptions are council, ANCs, DC courts, and DC public libraries. Donations may come from individuals, organizations, corporations, businesses, pretty much anybody walking. And as long as they're not cash donations are prohibited. The district's donations are managed via QuickBase, which is a system that if you don't have access to, for those of you that are on this training, I will get you access once I have all the names of everybody that's been a part of this training. But the QuickBase app allows you to submit donations. We review them, and then we approve them, and then let you know, and then we put the donation agreements within them. Next slide. So donations and grants, they are not the same. So, a lot of folks tend to get those confused. Donations are voluntary contributions, fund services. They're a bona fide contribution. There's no strings attached. There's no quid pro quo. Whereas grants are awarded. They're subject to the specific objectives and outcomes. Is typically a competitive process, and you have to submit. You typically have to submit some type of proposal. You typically have to do some type of reporting on what you're doing with the funds or whatever it is that the funds that you receive during grants. And grants are typically strictly financial, whereas donations could be in-kind services and funds and things of those sorts. Next slide. So agencies are not the first one. Agencies are not allowed to solicit, accept, or use donated funds or services or property without prior approval by ServDC. So, or OPGS, or OGC, I should say. So again, this is highlighted in red because when we work with district agencies, this is something that we harp on making sure that we're going through the proper approval process of when we accept donations. So again, you have to make sure that you come through our offices before you accept any donations or solicit or anything of that nature. Donations must be used for the authorized purpose of the agency. So you can't have a donation of computers that are supposed to go to classrooms, but you're using them for personal use or for your teachers or anything like that. They have to be used for the direct purposes. Financial donations will be deposited into the 8450 fund. Again, as I mentioned in previous slide, no quid pro quo can exist. So you see there's a lot of construction. That's probably why my computer isn't working the best around here, but there's a lot of construction in the city. So one of these construction companies shouldn't be coming to you guys saying like, hey, we'll donate box seats to the Wizards game in order to get the contract for any renovations that are going on at your facility or anything of that nature. But it should be no quid pro quo can exist. Again, it's a bona fide contribution, and donations of cash is prohibited. So again, we're not allowed to accept cash. We want checks or money orders so we could keep that paper trail. Next slide, please. The benefits of this process: it helps protect us. It helps avoid public scandal and mismanagement. It allows us to leverage external resources. Believe me, it eases donor concerns. Financial donations are able to roll over. So we have donations.
Rod, I don't know if you could tell on when you're in, but we lost you. I still see you connected. It just has the low bandwidth signal again. Yeah, to answer the person in the chat, yes, he froze. We're just going to give him a few to get back situated. Road, I'm getting the message that you're speaking, but we can't hear you yet. If you can hear me.
This is good.
I hear you. I heard you just then. Still can't see you.
Hello, hello, hello.
I can hear you.
I'm just having the worst luck with everything. Um, so,
Maybe if you
what
keep
was the
your
last thing
video,
that was heard, I guess?
yeah, just keep your video off, and we can still hear your voice pretty good. And I didn't hear anything on this page, benefits of the donation process. Well, I heard it protects us. I did hear you talk about that. Yeah, I think you cut off it protects us and avoid public scandals.
So can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, uh, I don't know what's going on with the technology in here today. But so yeah, again, leveraging external resources. The benefits of the process allows us to leverage external resources. It helps us ease donor concerns, and then also financial donations are able to roll over from year to year. So again, like I said previously, that you might not have heard, but we have donations within like DCPS where they've rolled over for the last like 10 years. So donations, financial donations typically are able to roll over from year to year, and then allows your agency to highlight the work that you're doing. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so just a quick, background, see the donation stats over the last couple years. So as you can see in FY20, we gained about close to $45 million in kind and financial donations. And the reason being for that is, again, we had a lot of people that wanted to support the district with COVID relief and help our district residents in a meaningful and impactful way. And then as you can see, like each year, pretty much we've seen donations go up. And I could really attribute that to one, the district being really meaningful and how we're tracking donations. I think prior to FY14, we weren't really tracking donations, really didn't have a system in place. And this training wasn't going on. So with this training being able to happen and folks being able to be trained on the process and be able to properly track, and the district really putting some processes in place, it's really helped. Next slide, please. And then, so these are the 5 top recipients for FY20. As you can see, education and recreation folks really poured into our school systems, our recreation centers, really wanting to support students during the pandemic with laptops and things of that nature to really support like the virtual learning that went on a lot of last year. And then you see government operations, public safety, health and human services, and economic development. Next slide, please. So the donation process, it is a 3-part process. So there's the online application, which is the quick base application. Then there's the legal review, and serve DC. And then the third step is the donation agreement, which is signed by the donor, the agency, and then ultimately by Serve DC as we fully execute that agreement. Next slide. So the application process, on here I say it takes up to 7 business days, but really it doesn't. It's typically like 2 to 3 days to get the approval process for the donation. So one of the first things that we tell folks to do is for the agency and the donor to confirm that there's no conflict of interest. So this is where the mayor's memorandum comes into place. So typically, when I was on the other side of things, running donations for DCPS, I would send the donors a copy of the mayor's memorandum, just have them review it to make sure that, hey, there's no conflict of interest, that, hey, yes, you do agree with everything that's going on in here. And once the donor tells us, like, hey, there's no type of conflict of interest, then the next step is to seek seek our approval or serve DC's approval. So you do that by submitting the online application, which is through QuickBase. And then when you do that, you want to make sure that you have all the pertinent information. So you could go to the next slide. Next slide. So when you're putting in your donation application, you want to have the donor's name, donor address, email address, the point of contact, what the donation is, what is the purpose of the donation. So how does it serve your agency's mission or the district's mission or priorities, just so that we're making sure that the donations that are coming into the district serve a purpose, that we're not just getting things just to get them, but we're going to be using them in a meaningful and an impactful way for our residents and for our agencies. So once you do that, you fill out the QuickBase application. It goes to MOC review. When it goes to the mayor's office of legal counsel, they will review it. They'll check, make sure that, hey, it's legally sufficient, everything looks good. Once they've reviewed it and said everything is fine, you will receive an email stating that, hey, this donation is good to go. You're free to move on to the next step. So the next step for that is you'll like I said, you'll receive an email from ServDC and MOC saying, like, you're free to accept this donation. And then next slide, please. Once you've received that email to say that you're good to go, then you'll complete the donation agreement. So within the donation agreement, it'll it'll have your agency information, the donor's information, what the value of the donation is, what the purpose of the donation is, and I will send you guys a template for the donation agreement. Sometimes we do have donors that want to include or add additional information into those agreements. So when they do ask to add that on, I ask that you send that along to myself to review it, to make sure that they're not adding anything crazy into it. And then I'll send that to MOC for them to also review, just to make sure that we are all aligned and agree with it. And then from there, once the agency has signed it, the donors have signed it, you send that donation agreement up to me. You're free to accept your donation. So you'll be free to accept it, because then on our end, we'll get it fully executed. But we don't want to hold you guys up from receiving a donation just because our process may take a day or two for it to get signed by the director. And then at the end of each quarter, just for your edification, we do publish a quarterly donation report that reports all the donations that we've accepted through the district for that quarter. We also send letters to our donors to make sure that we're amplifying, thanking them for what they have done. So ServDC will send donation letters to any donations that are 10,000 or below, and then any donations that are 10,000 or above, they receive a letter from the mayor directly. Next slide. So this is a copy of the donation agreement. Again, so it's pretty simple. You will get an AAD number. Once you submit your application, so it'll say like application 6920 after you've submitted your donation. So that'll be your AAD number. So that way we're able to track it and you're able to track it in the system. Because I can't tell you how many times we'll have folks like, yeah, I submitted the donation from Microsoft, but Microsoft may have donated to 2 or 3 other agencies. So that AAD number is like the way that we're able to really identify which donation, which agency. And then, like I said, it's pretty you're able to fill it out. It's pretty self-explanatory. I see that there's a question. Could you read that for me, Maurice?
See here. See if I can see the whole question. Is there a de minimis or minimum donation exemption? I'm thinking about small donations in kind from an employee. Like if I use my own vehicle for a short work trip and don't seek any reimbursement.
So
That counts as a donation.
no, that so is there a minimum or maximum donation? One, there's no minimum or maximum donation, but as far as getting reimbursement from your agency for like travel or anything like that, again, that wouldn't be considered a donation. But that is something that I think would have to be worked out with your agency, like on the front end. Yeah, I will discuss some solicitation. Michael, I got you. And then also with the donation agreements, agencies are, like I said, they're expected to send the forms up to me once it's signed by the agency and the agency, the donor. And then if it is a financial donation, making sure that you send a photocopy of that check up to me, because so many times we'll OFRM or they'll reach out, or your budget analyst will reach out to say like, hey, has this donation, did this donation go through? Do you have a donation agreement for it? Because if you do not have a donation agreement for any financial donations, they will not upload it into your budget. So that's why it's imperative that you go through this process. And then, like I said, once the agreement is signed and sent to Serve DC, then you could accept and use the donation. Next slide.
There's another question in the chat that I was trying to summarize. Can you see?
Okay. Is it the one from Michael?
From Amy. It
Okay.
says, in sports and entertainment, there are commonly sponsorships where agencies are offered financial support for some advertising rights or for supporting a special event.
Mm-hmm.
It is neither a grant nor a donation. These are more common, and she would love some conversation about whether or not to process this as a donation.
So no, you do not process this as a donation. So, and that's probably something I do need to include in future trainings about sponsorship. But so when I was on the DCPS side, we worked a lot with Monumental Sports, the Washington football team now, and they would, offer sponsorship for, like, they redid fields, they redid basketball courts, and all that. So she's correct. It's not a donation agreement. But you would do a sponsorship agreement. So I can send you a copy of the sponsorship agreement that we've done and that I've kind of used as a template for my time at DCPS, which is what I've shared with other folks. And I worked extensively with MOLC, OGC, OPGS at the time, which is now Serve DC, and then the DCPS Council. And so we created a sponsorship letter, which that we were able to use for any sponsorship that has come in through DCPS to this day. So, like I said, I definitely understand because they're exchanging some type of service and all that. So yes, we are able to do sponsorship.
Okay. And then from Michael Bender, can you discuss any rules associated with soliciting donations?
Yeah, that's part. That's in the training.
Okay.
And then the training, and then I think somebody just asked, is there a copy of the training? I will send that out. Donation drop-off form. So this donation drop-off form is for any donations that are $500 or less, or valued $500 or less. This originally was in DPR and DCPS were the only agencies that use this type of the donation drop-off form, because they commonly would have folks walk up to schools and say, hey, we want to donate basketballs, or we want to donate books or whatever it may be. And so instead of going through the process of putting it through QuickBase and all that and having to wait a day or two, we established the donation drop-off form where they were able to right there, then and there, accept those donations, have the donors fill that out. Because a lot of times those donors were only coming for the day, so they didn't have 2 or 3 days to wait around to get, fill out forms. So we established the donation drop-off form. So then when I came over to Serve DC about 2 years ago, we had some discussions, and we've opened it up to all agencies that you're able to use the donation drop-off form. Again, this is only for donations that are $500 or less. These typically come into form for a lot of agencies that do solicitations, and I'll go over that. But because typically when you're soliciting donations for events that you may have, for the events that you have in the community, you're typically not going to get stuff over $500. So typically folks will use the donation drop-off form for that, to have folks that say, hey, we'll donate water or whatever it may be, or snacks. And so they're able to fill it out right then and there. Next slide. And next slide. I'm sorry. I just went over donation drop-off form. Financial donation. Again, all financial donations will be deposited into the 8450 private fund. All checks must be paid out to DC Treasury. Donations appear in the SOAR. Agencies must provide donation agreements or the donation drop-off form with the check to the fiscal officer, so they could create the new attributes. No donation agreement, no spending. So many times, like I've stated earlier, folks will have to backlog and get donation agreements done after they've received the check. You want to do that on the front end. Next slide, please. So again, when you're processing checks, please make sure you send a photocopy of your check with the donation agreements to me. Once the agreement is signed by DC, Serve DC, your AFO can set up the attributes. I just saw another question. Can you read that for me, Maurice?
I don't see a new question on my end.
Maybe
I saw was the obtaining a copy of the presentation.
Okay, maybe it was private. That's probably was. I didn't realize my video wasn't up, but maybe it was private. That a private message to me. Let me see. Can't see it. So it was saying, are there any instances when a donation can be submitted anonymously? I'm assuming so typically, if anonymously, I guess it depends on the value of the donation. So if it's under $500, typically folks, we've had folks put anonymous on there and just put like their information, and we've accepted it. Or if it's been under $500, we've had somebody within that agency submit the donation on behalf of whoever it is. But typically we haven't got anonymous donations, but yeah, it's been rare in those instances. Next slide, please. Wire transfers. This is just information for you guys to have. I don't think we've had donation ever come in where folks said that they wanted to wire transfer, but if they did, this is the information. We go through Wells Fargo, and this is the account information. Next slide. Foreign donation process. So we do have agencies that may get donations for foreign travel, or receive donations from some of the embassies in the area. So in order for us to accept that, we have to go we have to get approval from the mayor's chief of staff. So typically you'll contact Lisa Ray, and then she will send you a form that you have to fill out. And then once you get approval from her, then you have to go through the typical donation process. So if you do submit it, the first thing with myself or anybody from MOC will say is like, hey, has this been approved by the mayor's chief of staff before we can approve the donation or anything like that? Next slide, please. So solicitation, how some of y'all have asked about this. So solicitation is simply making the ask for a donation. So there are two forms of solicitation that we're allowed to do. We have direct solicitation and indirect solicitation. So direct solicitation occurs when an agency employee makes a direct ask to a specific donor. So in order for that to happen, you must have received approval from ServDC before you make that ask, to those potential donors. And then once you get a yes, then you could submit your request through OPGS or through the ServDC donation application in QuickBase. So an example of this is a DCPS school. They may send a letter to a specific restaurant or specific group of folks that they have a relationship with, that they've been working with for pizzas or something for back to school night, for their back to school event. So like direct solicitations are typically folks that agencies already have like an established relationship with. And so they'll like say like, hey, Target, we're about to do this back to school drive. Can you please donate, can you donate book bags because you've done this in the past? So something like that is a direct solicitation because you know the specific donors, you've worked with them, and you're making that direct ask. Whereas an indirect solicitation is when an agency employee asks multiple potential donors for donation support. So the way this happens is with this, you're not required to receive prior approval from ServDC. But however, once a donation is offered, you got to go through the donation process. So this would be like you're having a gala or something like that, and now you're trying to get funders, and you're coming up with a donation campaign, and you're doing this. So you're creating sample donation letters, and you're sending them out to um, multiple organizations, multiple people, telling them about what you're doing, and then just trying to raise funds or trying to get them to donate in-kind services. So another example would be a school may send a letter to multiple restaurants seeking a donation of pizzas for their back to school event. With indirect solicitations, a lot of times you don't have those relationships with those donors. You're just pretty much uh, making a wishful ask, like you're trying to establish those relationships to get them to support you. Whereas direct solicitations, a lot of times you already established those relationships. These are people that are pretty much like repeat donors to you, and then so you could pick up the phone and ask them for a donation. Whereas indirect solicitation is folks that you don't really have relationships with, and you're just reaching out to multiple folks trying to get them to donate. Next, um, next slide. So the mayor has a crowdfunding source. So it's the mayor's fund to advance DC. It's a one-step automated online crowdfunding platform designed to accept donations to particular and ongoing causes of the district government or district government agencies. So we are, as agencies, we are not allowed to use GoFundMe's. Um, we're not allowed to use GoFundMe's or any other crowdfunding resources, but we are able to use the Mayor's Fund to Advance DC. We are current. I'll be completely honest. Right now, the Mayor's Fund to Advance DC is not up because we just transitioned to a new page and a new website. So we're working on getting that back up and running. But it is a way for agencies that if they have specific events at the end of the year that they know that they want to raise funds for, they can, create a project on there and then they could direct donors to that. So a lot of times with the Mayor's Funds to Advance DC, we had schools using it. So schools would use it for end of the year projects like field trips to Asia, or Duke Ellington would use it for their end of the year celebration or event, some celebration. So they would raise funds throughout the year. But this is something that we look to bring back once we get our website back up and running. Really look to push and really want agencies to use it as a way to raise funds for different causes and different things that they have going on. Maurice, this is next slide. This is where you come in.
All right, now for some of the fun stuff. So again, I'm Maurice Eccles, attorney advisor for BEGA. That's the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability. We're promulgated by the Ethics Act. Our jurisdiction is DC government, current and former employees. Our team gives advice, we investigate, and we also train on the DC Code of Conduct and other ethics provisions. Now we're presenting today together because, gifts, our Code of Ethics provisions on gifts and donations intersect with the donations procedure. We're in the season of gift giving. And so a lot of these issues, may arise during this time. So we offer this training just to be sure that DC government is, in line with the Code of Conduct. And so generally there's a prohibition on accepting gifts. Gifts means any gratuity, favor, discount, entertainment, hospitality, loan, forbearance, or other item having monetary value. Oh yeah, before I go further, our website is BEGA, that's BEGA-DC.gov. You can email us if you have any questions as well at BEGA@DC.gov. If you have any questions for me that, might be, in depth, you can also email me as well if you don't want to put it in the chat. And my email is, I'll type it now. So you all have general. So gifts includes things that are provided in kind by purchase of a ticket, payment in advance, or reimbursement after the expense has been incurred. Also, salary supplementation is considered a gift as well. It might be a circumstance where you're, dealing with a vendor that provides a service for your agency, and they are trying to establish rapport with you, and they see that you work hard or something like that. So they, let me give you this gift for, the seemingly overtime that you may, be working. That is prohibited, salary supplementation. So generally, again, prohibition on soliciting and accepting gifts from prohibited sources. Prohibited sources are lobbyists, vendors, contractors and grantees, developers, applicants, people that are submitting applications to DC government for whatever benefit or service, and those who are regulated by the district. So regulated by your agency or the district at large. And then anyone who wants to do business with the district. Also, there's a prohibition on accepting gifts that are given because of an employee's official title or position. And then also general prohibitions on donations to the agency. Now, again, there are exceptions to that. You have to contact DC Serve first to get their guidance on the donation process when you're donating to the agency or someone else is trying to donate to the agency. But they cannot donate directly to the agency without first contacting Serve DC. So in today's day and age, we've got new ways on which we are able to give and receive gifts. And so this is a touch on some of those issues that may arise. We have a growing use of social media, currency exchange apps such as just different apps where you're allowed to send money wirelessly or quickly in this age. And then also we have issues that arise with social media and DC government employment. And so typically, you don't want your social media, because like I said, we're in the age of gift giving, or not in the age, the season of gift giving. And so typically people might solicit for donations on their social media. A lot of times people are maybe proud of their government employment and they include that in their bio on their social media. If this is your personal social media account, you should keep those things separately. Because if you are fundraising or trying to solicit, donations for some cause that you deem worthy in your individual capacity personally, you should not be soliciting on that account that mentions DC government. We don't want your personal account to or your personal statements to be seen as an official government statement. And so typically it's safer to keep those social media accounts separate. So if you're, doing something on behalf of DC government, use your agency social media account to make those statements. If you're doing something in your personal capacity, make sure if it's known that you work for DC government, widely known, put a disclaimer on that social media page. These are the thoughts and expressions of me as an individual and are not that of my employer. I'll say, okay, gifts that cannot be accepted. What to do if you are offered or receive a gift that cannot be accepted. You must inform the person offering the gift and return the gift. You can donate the gift to a nonprofit charity or donate it to the district or reimburse the donor the market value of the gift. Now, if the gift is perishable and returning it would be impracticable, you can share it with your office staff, or you can donate it to charity, or you can destroy it. Note that sharing with office staff or donating to a charity is a one-time only option with respect to any donor. And so you can't regularly accept, gifts from a particular donor and then continue sharing it with your staff. That's a one-time thing. So also during this season, there's a lot of events that concern fundraising. You can be offered attendance to those events that is considered gifts, especially if they're not in your personal capacity, like they're offering you the attendance because they know that you work for DC government. So employees may not accept free travel, meals, and lodging. Employees may accept free attendance at events. So with a speaker at an event, when an employee is a speaker or a panel participant on behalf of the agency, assignment must be made in writing by the employee's agency head or other designee. That's when you're speaking in your official capacity. You have to get approval from a supervisor. For widely attended events, 50 persons or more, by sponsor of event or official capacity only, attendance is in the interests of the agency and further agency's programs and operations. And then it's determined by in writing by the mayor or his designee, his or her designee. By someone other than the sponsor of event, a personal or official capacity. It has to be $350 or less for the admission fee. Attendance must share a diversity of views or interests. This is when you can accept attend free attendance to an event. Events must be open to members from or throughout an interested industry or profession. And then if your personal capacity, the employee must take annual leave. So if it happens during your tour of duty, even though, it's something that may benefit DC government or you're attending, because you're a DC government employee, you have to take annual leave. Now, if it was authorized by your agency in writing, your supervisor gave you permission, then you can attend during your tour of duties, and you don't have to charge it to the employee's leave account. You don't have to use leave for those situations. Penalties for non-compliance. So if you are in violation of, gift giving or fundraising codes or provisions, there are penalties. Vega may impose penalties and fines. There could be public censure for elected officials and recommendations for removal. And you could be in prison, depending on how egregious the situation is. And then, like I said before, I gave you our contact at Vega. If you're ever offered, a gift, or you have a question about whether you're able to accept, a certain item or attend a certain event, feel free to contact us. Vega@dc.gov, and then the phone number is there as well. Any questions for me before I move on? Review. So rules apply to supervisors giving gifts to employees under his or her review. Activities only apply to gift giving to superiors. That's true. There are gift giving safeguards that we want people to, adhere across the board, but supervisors who give to their employees don't typically gain from that issue. So am I echoing? Can everybody hear me okay? Because I was getting some feedback. I'll try to just talk through the feedback if that's okay. I hear it on my end. But anyways, with that situation, so supervisors giving to their subordinates, they don't tend to get a step up from that gift giving situation. On the reverse end, if an employee is giving to their supervisors, then that could be seen as them trying to garner favoritism, within that office. And then that would, be an ethics violation. But the other way around, down giving from supervisors to subordinate, that supervisor doesn't get, necessarily a leg up in favoritism to get promoted because their subordinates cannot promote them or give them favoritism or approve, any type of thing for them. So it's more so geared toward, limits on giving up. I hope that was clear. Any other questions for me? All right.
All right, can you hear?
Roll.
All right. Recognition of donors. Again, through the mayor's memo, employees, district, we're allowed to acknowledge and provide thank you to donors. Again, like I said, we send out thank you letters to donors. We're allowed to do press releases, photo opportunities, certificates, and other items to commemorate the donation. So within the past 18 months, we had a bunch of donations where folks were donating PPE to the district, different PPE equipment, and so they were asking for the mayor to do photo ops and then us to do press releases. So those are things that we are able to do. We may permit the display of donors' logos if the display is incidental to the donation, or if the display is unlikely to give the impression of commercialization. So again, that's where someone asked about the question of sponsorship. So a lot of times when we deal with the professional sports teams or that want to donate, they have their logos and different things of that nature on their stuff. So that's where a sponsorship agreement would have to come in place, not with a simple donation. All permanent, like I stated, all like permanent displays of logos have to receive clearance from Mayor's Office of Legal Counsel or the General Counsel or OGC. Next page, please. So next steps, I will get you guys access to QuickBase. I will also provide you some additional donation resources. So I'll provide you guys with this this training deck, a copy of the donation agreements, a copy of the solicitation guidelines that I've created, and I'll send you copies of the sponsorship templates that we created, because I know there is some interest in just other resources for donations. Next. So if you guys want to be engaged with ServeDC, we have our CERT team, which is our community emergency response team. We have the Mayor's Snow team that's coming up, where we're asking folks to volunteer to help out our elderly folks so they don't get snowed in. And then we have our volunteer and donation portal, where we're able to list where your agencies can list volunteer opportunities to the public, or if you want to volunteer in your spare time, we have different nonprofits that have put opportunities on there, and they're looking for folks to volunteer. Next slide. So these are our contacts. My information is on here. Our director. These are all the crucial folks that play a part within the donation process. So you guys can reach out to us. Our phone numbers are here. Don't prank call us, but we will answer any questions that you have for us. And then last slide, if you have any additional questions or anything like that, please feel free to ask. As Michael said, if you don't feel comfortable asking in this setting, you can shoot me an email, and I will answer, or call me and I will answer any donation questions that you may have.
All right, that's it for us. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys bearing with me with my technical difficulties, but thank you, guys.